Welcome back, Green Day folks. And today we are actually starting, get excited, our Iliad and Odyssey unit. In other words, it's Greek mythology time. So, game plan for today, I'm going to have you submit attendance, obviously. I'm going to read for you Athena and Poseidon's contest for Athens. It is a common lit reading, pretty short, but I'll read that for you. So when you are ready for that, go over to Lockdown Browser and you will find this very same video. Feel free to follow along and answer those 5 questions as we are doing so. And then additionally, second half of class today, I'm going to have you complete the Iliad and Odyssey crash course activity. There's a man named John Green. He does what he calls crash courses, and essentially he, in a very witty way, some of his references you probably won't understand because frankly I don't understand all of them. He also speaks rather quickly, so you may want to slow him down just a little bit. But he releases a lot of YouTube videos about literature specifically. Also wrote The Fault in Our Stars, among other things. But there is a YouTube video where he crash course dives in to the Iliad and the Odyssey. And I think it's very beneficial for us. I had planned to do this even if we weren't virtual with you prior to us beginning the Iliad and watching Troy. So there's an activity with that, and it is essentially kind of guided note-taking. So as you are watching that video, grab a piece of paper, take a look at what you are responsible for, the activities, the questions for which you're responsible, and I would actually go ahead and fill out kind of your answer sheet. I'll give you an example and show you what that looks like when you get to that assignment. Go ahead and fill out your answer sheet, and that way as you're watching the video, you can simply fill in the answers to the things you are looking for there. That being said, I'm actually going to now shift gears, and I'm going to read with you Athena and Poseidon's contest for Athens. So if you want to head to Lockdown Browser right now, do that, and I'll see you there. Howdy, folks. Welcome back here. We are going to dive into Athena and Poseidon's contest for Athens. So sorry, I'm trying to get my visual set up here. Our first reading here from Greek mythology, and I think it provides a pretty good example and an introduction for us with regard to what exactly Greek mythology looks like. It gets into a couple gods here and John Green will get into this in this video, but you know, this was composed thousands of years ago. Greek mythology, tales that were actually voiced, so were not written down, they were passed down. But here we go, Athena and Poseidon's contest for Athens by AthenaEurope.org 2016. People in ancient Greece told myths to entertain, explain their world, and better understand what it means to be human. Greek mythology spread across the world, influencing ancient Roman mythology and culture. Many of these myths are still recounted today. As you read, compare Athena and Poseidon's characteristics, values, and actions. Here we go. The stories of our Greek and Roman heroes all share similar traits. Heroes or heroines tend to be born in an extraordinary way. Think of the DC comic Superman, sole survivor from the planet Krypton, who was saved by his father and sent in a rocket to planet Earth, are often brought up by those who are not their birth parents, and go on to face a series of challenges or quests before they can claim what is rightly theirs. During their heroic careers, they are called up to intervene in all kinds of human endeavors, such as battles between peoples or wars between nations. They are also often conscripted into worthy causes, such as the creation of a new town, laying the metaphoric foundations for what was to prosper into contemporary major cities that we still walk in today. These stories are called founding myths and also denote moments in a shared history when new communities arise to later become powerful and prosperous. One such story comes from Virgil's The Aeneid, where the popular cult of Romulus and Remus becomes the founding myth of the city of Rome, telling of the twins' unusual infancy when they were breastfed and reared by a she-wolf after their parents had deserted them. Our heroine, Athena, was the protagonist of such founding myth, and she too has a city named after her. And if you're wondering which city this could be, the clue lies in her name. But it was her name that was given to the city and not the other way around. To recall this story, we have to start with once a long, long time ago, because the actual date is not important. Only the idea that all this took place in our distant past. Once a long, long time ago, the first king of Athens, King Cecrops, quite an extraordinary king himself as he was part human and part snake, naturally, set out to find a patron deity for his city-state. already a prosperous and vibrant city. He called on Athena and Poseidon because both, in fact, desire to be the patron of this beautiful city. Athena and Poseidon are Athena a goddess, Poseidon a god. Both will be very, very, very important when we are reading the Odyssey. Their rivalry is so intense that they almost went to war, and just as they were about to attack each other, Athena, with her typical wise approach, suggested they should hold a contest for the city. A lot of that going on in the Odyssey as well. With King Cecrops, the judge, they set up the contest and decided whoever presented the city with the best gift would be rewarded with the city itself as the grand prize. In the midst of a huge crowd, seeing King Cecrops presiding over the contest, they went up to the Acropolis to present their gifts to the city. Poseidon was to go first. He lifted his massive trident, three-pointed spear, struck the earth with it, Poseidon, god of the sea. At that point where the spear struck, a frothy spring burst out, producing a sea, which is now called Erechtheus. The people loved it, but as they went closer to taste the water, to their dismay, the water was salty. Don't forget that Poseidon was the ruler of the sea, and the water sources he controlled were inevitably salty, just as the seas he ruled. When it was Athena's turn, her act was far less dramatic. She quietly knelt and buried something in the ground, which in time grew into an olive tree. This turned out to be a much more useful gift, granting the Athenians not only olives themselves as sustenance, but also a source of oil for their lamps and for cooking their food, as well as the wood from the olive tree to build their boats and houses. Clearly, Athena's gift was deemed by far the better by Cecrops, and he declared her the winner and the patron deity of Athens. Athena became the protector of the city. Many people throughout the Greek world worshipped her as Athena Pelias, Athena of the city. As patron of Athens, she fought in the Trojan War on the side of the Achaeans. We will see that take place as we watch Troy, the Trojan War. Long, long war. That may or may not have actually taken place around 12th century BCE, but we'll get into that later, and so will John Green in the second activity you will knock out today. If you're worried about what happened to the king, you don't have to be concerned, as the fabulous citadel, the Acropolis, was named Cecropia after him. Sea god Poseidon, however, was not pleased at all by all of this. In wild fury, he flooded the Thracian plain, drowning Attica under his salty sea. Don't get on the bad side of Poseidon. Odysseus does that. Doesn't work out real well. Contest for the city of Athens was later carved into the stone relief on a rear pediment in the temple of Athena on the Acropolis, with both of our heroes appearing in the center of the composition, the goddess holding her olive tree and Poseidon his trident. To find some of the terms here at the bottom of that page if you are curious. Story deserves an additional telling, this time in the Roman tradition. Here was the god Neptune, who was to challenge the goddess Minerva to the contest over Athens. In this rendering, it was Jove, Zeus, who was to judge them. The outcome, however, was identical, with Minerva winning the contest with her olive tree, establishing what was said to be the first town in the world, naming it in her own name, Athens. In this version, not only did Neptune flood the land with a sea of salt, but went on to curse the city with a water shortage, which still continues today in modern-day Greece. There is your reading. You'll have 5 questions to complete. And again, once you have done so, the activity with John Green, I think you will enjoy him. But again, I would recommend slowing him down a little bit because he does read and go through very, very quickly. He will provide you with all of the answers to the crash course activity today. Other than that, reach out with questions. Let me know what you need from me. Look forward to seeing you all next week. You're going to enjoy Troy. We're going to have a good time with the Odyssey and with the Iliad. We'll see you next week, folks.